Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, I am Muhammad Yusuf R. Abdullah, a second year student of PSC, taking the degree of Bachelor of Science, major in Civil Engineering. In this video, I am going to show you the 25 referee official hand signals. Before we start, the game of volleyball has been played and enjoyed for centuries. It is a great pastime and a fun game to participate in. It is a sport that does not take a lot of stamina or skill on the player's part. It is also a good game to play in large groups and with friends. Volleyball can be a very powerful and strenuous game to play. It comes highly recommended, a sport that most anyone can participate in. It is definitely not a sport that only young can participate. Volleyball was introduced to the Olympics in 1964 in Tokyo, Japan. So now, let's start with the hand signals. The first hand signal is the authorization to serve. The beacon for serve is the most used signal by the first referee. This signal is used to start each rally.
Move the hand to indicate direction of service like this. First, start with the arm straight out from the shoulder. The arm is also parallel to the floor. Hand is open with the palm facing forward. You don't want the palm facing downward or upward. After whistling, bring the hand to the opposite chest. The second hand signal is the team to serve. Just like what we did a while ago, you will extend your arm to the side of the team that will serve. The third hand signal is the change of courts. Raise the forearms front and back and twist them around the body. For the fourth hand signal is the timeout. Place the palm of one hand over the fingers of the other, held vertically forming a T, and then indicate the requesting team.
Do you know that you are allowed 2 timeouts in a game? If the score is 14-14 and you are playing side-out scoring, you are allowed another. The timeout will only last for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, the referee will generally blow the whistle and signal for the teams to return to the court.
The fifth hand signal is the substitution, circular motion of the forearms around each other, just like what we see during a basketball game.
My question, how many substitutions are allowed in each game for each team? In each game, and not much. A team is allowed 12 substitutions. This is because too many substitutions is an advantage and would defeat the purpose of the game. Now remember, libero does not count as a sub. What is a libero? A libero is a player who wears different color jersey to the rest of the team, so he can be identified. They go in back row for one of the players, and they don't count as a substitution. A libero is also not allowed to play front row, meaning be in a front row rotation.
For the sixth hand signal is the misconduct penalty. The referee will just show a red card for the penalty.
The first rude conduct in the match by any team member is penalized with the loss of rally. Misconduct could be a rude conduct, which is an action contrary to good manners or moral principles, or an offensive conduct, which is insulting words or gestures.
For the seventh hand signal is the expulsion. Referee will show both cards jointly for expulsion.
Repeated rude conduct or offensive conduct is sanctioned by expulsion. The team member who is sanctioned with expulsion must leave the playing area for the rest of the set and must remain seated in the penalty area with no other consequences, and their team is declared incomplete for the set.
The eighth hand signal is the disqualification. The referee will show red and yellow cards separately for disqualification.
Well,
Obviously, a team member who is sanctioned by disqualification must leave the competition control area for the remainder of the match with no other consequences. For the ninth hand signal is the end of set or match. Cross the forearms in front of the chest, hands open. After the last point of the set has been scored and you have awarded the final point, and signal the ball, whistle, and show the end of the set. Signal by crossing the arms over the chest. Hands open. Hands should be open with the palms facing the body. Avoid making fists. Did you know the longest record volleyball game was in Kingston, North Carolina? It took 75 hours and 30 minutes. The 10th hand signal is when the ball not tossed or released at the service hit. Lift your extended arm, the palm of the hand facing upwards. The motion starts at the thigh and there is less bend at the elbow. Extend the arm with the palm up. Start at the thigh and end at the waist. Avoid making the signal look like the catch signal. This signal is when the ball isn't released from the hand at the moment of service contact, or if the server doesn't execute the service properly. The 11th hand signal is the delay in service. It is when the server doesn't contact the ball within 8 seconds. Raise both arms above your head. Use 5 digits on the right hand and thumb and the first fingers on the left hand. Always use the same digits on each hand no matter which side the fault occurred. The 12th hand signal is the blocking fault or screening. Raise both arms vertically and palms forward. Blocking is the action of a player near to the net intercepting a volleyball coming from the opposite side by reaching higher than the top of the net. Only front row players are allowed to complete a block. A block attempt is the action of trying to block without touching the volleyball. A block is completed whenever a volleyball is touched by a blocker. A collective block is executed by 2 or 3 players close to each other and is completed when one of them touches the volleyball. Consecutive contacts of the volleyball may be made by 1 or more blockers provided during one action. When blocking, a player may place hands beyond the net, provided this action doesn't interfere with the opponent's play. Thus, a blocker can touch a volleyball beyond the net until the attacker has executed the attack hit. Blocking beyond the net is permitted when the block is made after the opponents have hit the volleyball in such a manner that the ball would clearly cross the net if not touched by a player, and no member of the attacking team is in position to make a play on the volleyball, and when the ball is falling near the net and no member of the attacking team could make a play on the volleyball. A block contact is not counted as a team contact. Therefore, after a block, a team is entitled to 3 contacts to return the ball. The first team contact after a block may be executed by any player, included who touched the volleyball during the block. Blocking an opponent's serve is forbidden if a blocking fault is completed simultaneously with an opponent's attack hit fault. A double fault is committed and the rally is replayed. The 13th hand signal is the positional or rotational fault. The signal for positional or rotational fault is held at waist height. Make a clockwise circular motion with the index finger pointed towards the floor. Make the circular motion no more than twice. After the signal, indicate the players at fault. You need to indicate what players in order to prevent a subsequent occurrence on the next whistle of service. 14th hand signal is the ball in. When the ball lands in the court within the boundary lines, this signal is indicated in. Signal by extending the arm with the hand open toward the court. Point the arm and fingers towards the floor. The arm should be 45 degrees away from the body. Point near the intersection of the attack line and sideline. The thumb should be next to the index finger without space between the fingers. Remember, blow the whistle the instant the ball contacts the floor. Next, gather information if necessary to determine whether the ball was in, out, or touched. Point the arm and fingers towards the floor. The 15th hand signal is the ball out. When the ball goes out of bounds without being touched by the defender or the ball hits the antenna or crosses the net outside the antenna, you signal by raising both arms while keeping the upper arms parallel the floor. The forearms are perpendicular to the floor with the elbows kept at a 90 degrees angle. Hands are open with palms facing towards your body. Your arms should be at comfortable distance apart to allow you an obstructive view. You should easily be able to see your referee partner, the court, and the benches beside you. Your signal should not look like a touchdown signal. The 16th hand signal is the catch. Slowly lift the forearm, palm of the hand facing upwards. When the ball is caught or thrown, signal by extending your arm slightly toward the court at waist height. With hand open and palm up, slightly cup the hand with fingers together. Start at waist height and raise to shoulder level. Keep the hand away from the shoulder and outside the body line, in front of the body, but out to the side so everyone can see. The 17th hand signal is the double contact. When you signal multiple contacts, raise your arm with the first two fingers extended. It's the arm on the side of the net where the fault occurred. Signal slightly to the side and above the head, not directly in front of you. Remember, multiple contacts are illegal during a team first attempt, provided they are done by a single playing action. The 18th hand signal is the 4 hits. If a team contacts the ball more than 3 times without sending it back over the net, and the 3rd and 4th contacts aren't made by the same player, then signal 4 hits. Signal by extending the arm with 4 fingers. Raise your 4 fingers and spread it open. This should be slightly to the side and above the head. Remember, if the same player makes 3rd and 4th contacts, the signal is 2 hits. 19th hand signal is when the net touched by player. Serve ball touches the net between the antenna and does not pass the vertical plane of the net. Simply indicate the relevant side of the net with the corresponding hand. You signal by touching the top of the net, palm facing the net, with the hand on the side of the team that committed the fault. As a second referee, you don't repeat the signal for a ball that doesn't cross the net on the serve. For a net fault, as a second referee, you aren't required to touch the net cable, or post. An air net is preferred. This will save time and extra effort required to move forward. Second referee is required to step to the side of the net of the team that committed the net fault. This is true of any fault. Remember that the first referee doesn't make air net hand signal. For net fault, indicate the player with an open hand and not the finger. You only indicate the player when you whistle the fault, not when the second referee whistles the net fault. 20th hand signal is when reaching beyond the net. When a player reaches illegally beyond the net, contacting the ball or the opponent, show the reaching beyond the net signal. Place the forearm across the net without touching the net or net cable. The palm should be down and perpendicular to the net. Place a hand above the net, palm facing downwards. After showing the signal, indicate the player at fault. A player touches the ball or an opponent in the opponent's space before or during the opponent's attack hit. A player hits the ball within the playing space of the opposing team. 21st hand signal is the attack hit fault. Make a downward motion with the forearm with the open hand When a player attacks the ball illegally, extend the arm straight up above the shoulder with open hand. Bend at the elbow and make downward motion toward the opposing team. The downward motion ends at just above eye level as to not block your vision of the court. After the signal indicate the player fault, a back row player completes an attack hit from the front zone. If at the moment of the hit the ball is entirely higher than the top of the net, the player completes an attack hit on the opponent's service. When the ball is in front zone and entirely higher than the top of the net, libero completes an attack hit if at the moment of the hit the ball is entirely higher than the top of the net. 20-second hand signal is the penetration into the opponent's court. Simply point to the center line or to the relevant line. A player may enter the opponent's court when the ball is out of play. Players may penetrate into the opponent's free zone provided they don't interfere with the opponent's play. At the moment of the service hit or take off for a jump service, the server must not touch the court. 23rd hand signal is the double fault and replay. Raise both thumbs vertically if two or more faults are committed by opponents simultaneously. A double fault is called and the rally is replayed. And if there is any external interference during the game, the play has to be stopped and the rally is replayed. Anytime a rally must be replayed, signal a reply by holding two fists above the shoulders with thumbs up. A rally may be replayed if an object or ball comes on the court during play and causes a safety concern or causes interference, or when both teams commit a fault at them same instance. 24th hand signal is when the ball is touched. This signal indicates the ball was touched by a player on the side the ball went out of bounds. Put your arm at 90 degrees on the side of the team that touched the ball. Brush with the palm of one hand, the fingers of the other, held vertically, only brush once. 25th hand signal is when delay warning and delay penalty. Cover the wrist with a red card for warning and with a yellow card for penalty.